Sunday, February 23, 2026. The mountains of Jalisco, Mexico. A joint operation by the Mexican Army and National Guard moves into a quiet residential neighborhood in the town of Tapalpa. Their target? Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, the most wanted drug lord in Mexico, the head of the Jalisco Nueva Generación Cartel, the CJNG, one of the most violent criminal organizations on the planet. To the man our sources called Waz, the audio equipment was just another tool, one to keep an eye on things when he was away. Not weapons, not drugs, notebooks, spreadsheets, a cartel payroll, handwritten, dated, and disturbingly detailed.
The documents, obtained exclusively by the Mexican newspaper El Universal, reveal the CJNG's day-to-day financial operations across multiple municipalities in Jalisco, from Tapalpa to Villa Purificación, from Autlán to Puerto Vallarta. Think of it like this. You're looking at a corporate expense report, except instead of travel reimbursements and software subscriptions, you're reading about lookout shifts, gunman salaries, and weekly bribe payments. In Tapalpa alone, the CJNG employed between 30 and 32 halcones, lookouts, paid between 2,500 and 3,000 pesos per week, plus 26 armed gunmen called muchachos de choque, earning 4,000 pesos weekly. Their commander took home 6,000 pesos a week. Add gasoline costs, base rents, office space for the gun squad, food packages, and vehicle repairs, and you have a meticulously managed operation. The records are divided by week and by municipality. Not just Tapalpa, but neighboring towns like Atemajac de Brizuela and Chiquilistlan are also on the books. This wasn't improvisation. This was a system. The name at the center of the financial operation? Hugo Cesar Macías Ureña, alias El Tuli, El Mencho's money man. On December 1, 2025, a handwritten entry records 300,000 pesos in expenses attributed to him. El Tuli was killed in the same raid as his boss.
Now here's where the story gets darker. Mixed into the operational expenses are a different kind of line item, bribes. One document from December 2025 lists 650,000 pesos paid to the National Guard in Michoacán, a unit called Picten, 75,000 pesos to the National Guard in Autlán, 20,000 pesos to someone nicknamed Guachito, listed as passes data, and 15,000 pesos directly attributed to the Attorney General's office, the FGR. But the most striking figure may be the simplest one. The CJNG paid Tapalpa's municipal police 138,000 pesos in December alone. For context, Tapalpa's entire police force, 26 officers, earns a combined 685,000 pesos per month in official salaries. The cartel's payment represents 20% of the city's public security payroll. And that's just the one town we have records for.
Let's talk about the money coming in. In December 2025, the CJNG operation in Tapalpa generated 8,781,353 pesos from sales of crystal meth, marijuana, cocaine, fentanyl, and the cut from slot machines they controlled in the area. Total operating costs for that same month? 1,389,690 pesos. That's an operating margin above 80%, better than most Fortune 500 companies. Then there are the dollar figures. A separate ledger titled Expenses in Dollars, also from December 2025, lists $2 million to Mono Flaco, $600,000 labeled as Regalos de Nietos, gifts for grandchildren, and $98,000 to an alias called Guereja. The entries suggest a global financial network far beyond a single mountain town in Jalisco.
El Mencho is gone. His treasurer is gone. The documents are in government hands. But a ledger that names corrupt officers, cartel lieutenants, and financial structures across multiple states, that's not a closed case. That's the beginning of one. The cartel's spreadsheets survived their boss, And they're asking a question that nobody in power seems eager to answer. How many names on this list are still on the government payroll?
Okay, so I have one more to play for you. I think just a little snippet before we begin, just to give context to everything.
Of 2025, a special agents of the security office where he works in Santo Domingo received information from a source of information that they identify as FDI1, that individual A, and individual A who is known to, who is a person who is a person who works in the entertainment world, made a show of being able to obtain US visas and that he participated in some type of fraud. That individual, known as a promoter and musical talent agent in the Dominican Republic, and you can come with me, is linked to numerous applications for non-immigrant and US visas because part of his function is to obtain visas for artists and others. Now what remains to be seen is everyone who obtained visas, those almost 120 cases, they speak of 119 cases through Melton Court of Terror, and that US authorities say is too much for the period that corresponded to him. If someone paid and is probably from here in this country, he will face that investigation because forget about that, that goes a little further. So the investigation says that this individual, the artistic promoter and the DEA supervisory special agent, Mellington Cordero, conspired to commit bribery and visa fraud, and that Mr. Cordero, has been assigned to the United States Embassy in the Dominican Republic for approximately 5 years.
Okay, so that is Dominican Republic, and we will begin. And let's see if I can put all this together for you. I think it's getting a little bit easier, right? It's getting a little bit easier to see everything because there's so many patterns that are now coming all together so that we see, the puzzle pieces making the one big puzzle. So, but I really want to make sure that that I try to put everything together for you because this is so important. There's so much at stake, right? Okay. I think this is, yeah. Okay, so let's begin. This is day 2041 since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room on Fort Bliss because he was a whistleblower. And he was taken down to the basement room, and his life was taken from him in that arms room. And I should have the seal picture every time I say this and flash it up. The room, the doors being sealed, and tell about the illegal orders from Major General James Eisenhower to tamper with the evidence by having the room totally renovated without any expense spared and without following protocol. I think that's really important to keep putting that information out there. And God bless you if you do that for me, to put that that information out there, because it's so important in this case, because Richard's body was stolen off of Fort Bliss, right? And that is huge. And then his body was trafficked across the border, across international border into Mexico, to be disposed of. And evidence indicates that they took his organs, they harvested his organs as well. The evidence indicates that his remains were disposed of at the Plenitude Crematorium, which is, in the news all the time right now in Juarez, Mexico. And, of course, here on Find Richard Halliday Facebook page and, wherever we post it. So thank you so much for giving that information. So what I just showed you today is like Iran-Contra 2.0 and Poisoned Pawns 2.0. That's what this is. It's like they intertwined Iran-Contra and Poisoned Pawns and made one big criminal network. And we call it the El Paso Mormon faction cartel in alliance with the Mexican cartel and other, including the CJNG, and as a protection racket for the trafficking pipeline of Jeffrey Epstein through to the John of God in Brazil, right? And I have it here, the map. I wanted to show you this map. See if I can make it bigger. Yeah. So, of course, you have here at Zorro Ranch, and right above Zorro Ranch is the Sanders Ranch. That's Beto O'Rourke's father-in-law, okay? And then right on to the west side of the ranch is right by Albuquerque, New Mexico, is the Cesar Duarte reported ranch. So, they have ranches all around here because we also know that the Arianos, the owners, the purchase Ariano Caron family, owners of the Plenitude Crematorium, they also have lots of property and everything. And so that is all being investigated. And, we'll see, we'll see. So right here, this point here is Fort Huachuca. Right here is Fort Bliss. So you have directly south of Zorro Ranch and all those ranches, and Santa Fe, the hub. I forgot to mention Santa Fe, New Mexico, is really the hub where all of these Chicago people, like Oprah. Oprah has a house there. The Obamas love it there. And it's just miles away from Zorro Ranch and the Sanders Ranch and Duarte's Ranch. Santa Fe is a big hub because that's where the laboratory is. That's where Jeffrey Epstein's laboratory was. And he got the researchers from Los Alamos lab, which, we're very, in our family, we're very familiar with all of that because I was born on White Sands and my parents of German heritage, and they belonged to the German American Club, and a lot of those researchers were Germans. So we understand that whole situation with the lab all these years later, right? And they were looking to create transhumanism, to find biologically eternal life, but then turn that biological discovery into a digital format mathematically to turn it into a financial instrument. And that was what was being invested, right? All the investments were for that digitized eternal life that became would become a financial instrument. Now, do I believe that that is even possible? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That's my faith. But, you know, I've had to, in our family, we've had to look outside of our box, right? Look outside of our own thinking to this Mormon faction thinking and the way they view family, the way they view the human body, the way they view heaven, the way, all of their polygamy, because polygamy is a very big thing in this Mormon faction. Polygamy and lots of children, like 50 children. And you see that Jeffrey Epstein wanted lots of children. You see that John of God in Brazil wanted lots of children. And so this pipeline, the thinking of these, and we absolutely view it as very, very evil. But you have to uh, understand um, the far-reaching implications of this pipeline, because there's so many people that are working for this pipeline that have a different a belief in what the family structure should be that way. You have individuals that are investing in this, so they have a different belief on who can give eternal life, who can take life, who can give life. They have a different view of, and many people have a different view than our family does when it comes to creation, right? Creation. So, they have a very odd view of it all. And so you have to kind of look outside your box to find even more leads. And this whole investigation is leading to, and thank you, Laura, for coming on, and I'll go through the comments in a little bit. But this whole investigation is leading to like another Iran-Contra 2.0, really, really huge, and a poisoned ponds 2.0. And what do I mean by that? So I'm doing everything by heart. I don't have notes or any kind of screen that I'm reading from. So I'm going to do the best that I can. But Iran-Contra is just, we absolutely know, and we posted up because we were so confident of our position when it came with this new aggression towards, and should I say aggression? People might think aggression is a bad thing, but if aggression is going to fight evil, maybe that's not such a bad thing. But I don't know all the details. We don't know all the details going that's causing this Iranian war, right? Or this war against Iran, right? We don't know all the details. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that I'm not, on some kind of soapbox. But I can tell you this: we have over 5 years of day in and day out investigating for hours. And so we have a lot of time in this. A lot of heart has been put in this. And the first thing that we do is look at the timetable. And what the timetable, you have to have your investigative board. We've turned our office into an investigative board. We did that when we were in El Paso. We, were putting up everything from all the dates and pictures and who's who and everything. And that really helps you put things together, see things more clearly than if you don't do it. And what we notice right away is that this attack on Iran, and I shouldn't say attack, but this military move on Iran um, comes just days after the El Mencho raid on his property, his capture, and of course, his death. But the big news, just like in the video that I played for you, he might be gone. And his brother in law, his money man is gone, but his brother and brother in law, they were extradited. They're still alive, but they were extradited to the United States earlier in 2025. So this has been long coming, a lot of preparation to capture him in his lair, probably with his money man, because the others were, the financial also of this huge um, government system. Really, it was really ruling over these cartels. What it proves is that Mexico had lost its sovereignty and that it was absolutely a narco state. So this gives them a chance to get back their sovereignty, because when you have an organization making more money than the top businesses in the United States, then something's amiss. Something is amiss, and very, very powerful amiss. And so to get the ledgers, like El Mencho's gone, El Tui's gone, but they've got the ledgers, and the ledgers aren't gone, and the other documents that they got, lots of documents. And what that shows you is corrupt officials, and that is absolutely Poison Pawns 2.0 and Iran-Contra 2.0, because they're dealing in, a lot of these weapons, a lot of drugs, a lot of money laundering through the slot machines, cleaning the money up, and much, much more that is coming out slowly. And one of those things is visas, paying for visas into the United States. And if you say, well, wait a minute, that was the Dominican Republic. Well, Dominican Republic is right. Let's see. Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico, right? So Dominican Republic is right there in this pipeline, okay, from Jeffrey Epstein's Little St. James, right? And then, of course, down here, there's Venezuela. But if you come down here, and I think right down here is the John of God Farms, right? So this pipeline, absolutely Venezuela, this pipeline, this is the fuel. And we know from this information that has been coming out, the leaked documents, the leaked ledgers, that loads of money were being made by selling visas, right? Selling, access. And we also know through our years of research, um, and and I've been reporting it for a while, that the El Paso Mormon faction cartel made an alliance with the Mexican cartels. What was that alliance for? That alliance was for visas, y'all. That alliance was for visas and access into our intelligence databases. It's, and then to do businesses, have privileges in the United States. And for example, like if you want to open up a restaurant and you want to have a bar, you don't have to worry really about getting a liquor license, right? So an American that wants to open up a restaurant and have a bar has to worry about all the regulations and the liquor license and all the permits and everything. But what was going on is that with this alliance, you got extra privileges to work outside of the law while you're in the United States, and nobody would bother you. And we know that the Purchase Ariano Caron family was working outside of the law right there in Juarez because they were in alliance with the Pan Party, which is the Sinaloa cartel, the Chapitos faction of the Sinaloa cartel, which ran the governor's office. That's Maru Campos is the Pan Party. And it was her mother that had the position to do oversight, permits, licensure of that Plenitude crematorium. And she allowed it to operate without any of that. So, and no penalties, right? No penalties. So this is what I'm talking about. And so in the video that you just watched, you see the ledgers, you see how important the documents capture was of El Mencho's paperwork and what it showed the police, even the prosecutor, and also for leaked information, right? We know that those ledgers show payment for access to information. So this all corroborates everything that we've been saying about the Poison Pawns 2.0. So this is an Iran-Contra because now we know that because of Governor Greg Abbott and his new releases today, that Iranians have been given visas to come into Texas, and these are Iranian military or Iranian cells, right? That maybe are military Iranian cells that are in Texas right now. We know that Houston is a very big stronghold, and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, specifically Allentown, right? Which is Patrick Crucius's hometown, which is where the disciple of John the God, Patrick Crucius's father, Brian Crucius, lives, and also a strong Mormon faction area. So, everything seems so complicated, but it is becoming very, very clear that they were selling visas and bringing in Iranians into the United States. We know that there is a big stronghold in California. We know that was part of this whole Mormon faction cartel. El Paso cartel is the hub for it. So we call it the El Paso Mormon faction cartel. We know that Arizona, big part of it. We know, uh, you know, that it's all connected. And so anyone that says no, where's your proof, look no further than all the news that's coming out right now about the sale, the groups of Iranians in the United States, the fraud that was going on with the visas, are you know corruption, the poison pawns corruption, left and right, and over you and under you and all around us. It is a rigged system. And so when I talk about the Walmart mass shooting rigging the election, that is not far fetched at all. That is not far-fetched at all. And I will say everything going on in the Charlie Kirk's case is very, very tied and connected to Richard's case. Okay. All that new information, and we're still going through it with the Abbas family, which is um, it's a Sunni, I think. I want to get it right before I tell you this because I have to learn all this. This is so outside my box. Um, so that name is very much connected to uh, the Iranian culture. I think it means lion. Okay. So this is what trying to wrap my brain around all of these different people. What do they believe? Because they don't necessarily, um, they seem to be infiltrating. Like, I went to Israel. I saw the Benai Gardens, and these individuals would get married in the Benai Temple up in Chicago area. Um, which, is a red flag because it's a Chicago area. That's William Sanders, that's Obama, that's Oprah, that's part of our case. And so everything that's going on with what Candace is talking about, and in the Charlie Kirk case, we are paying attention to very carefully, and making sure that we don't miss anything that connects, because of course Erica Kirk's mother was working at Fort Huachuca with our CAO asymmetric warfare officer, with the daughter of Jeffrey Epstein's pilot. Also having top secret clearance because she was a military officer there at Fort Huachuca. That means she's military intelligence. So it is. Really, nothing is a coincidence. Erica Kirk's mother's maiden name being Abbas, which is very Iranian. I know she's Syrian, but it is what it is, and I can't lie to you. That is a really strong name in Iran. Um, the Shia, yeah, sorry. It is a Shia name, which Iran is Shia Muslims, right? Mohammedans. So this is uh, all coming together, and it is absolutely looking like um, Iran-Contra 2.0 and Poison Pawns 2.0. And what did they have to do? They had to bribe. And that's where El Mencho's um, money really shows in the ledgers, is all of the bribes. I mean, it shows in so many other areas, but in the bribes. And we know that in El Paso, we have compromised leadership, that they have infiltrated our courthouse and that they have rigged it, just like they rig the slot machines, just like they rigged the election. They are rigging the court cases with the judge selection, and which includes the lawyers. There is a lot of rigging going on, and we have found out a lot about that, and we will let you know more um, when um, when we yeah when we when we can tell you, when we have the green light to tell everybody what we know about the rigging of the judges, and also that includes the lawyers in these cases. And so the message to everybody is that if you've had those experiences, um, and something was up, that you felt like it was rigged, please contact us. Leave a message. I very seldom answer the phone because it's ringing off the hook. I'd never get anything done. Please leave your message. And we are getting so much information in right now. But don't be discouraged. Keep sending it in. We will get to it. So that is really our message to you. Let's see if I can find. Oh, yeah, I did put up the picture depicting selling the visas into the United States and having access in order to do that, right? And all the money to go with that. So, and I know that it's coming out Dominican Republic, but that is part of this pipeline into Mexico, and they have a network. They're very, very organized, and that's what's really important. But we were right again. We're right again about these Iranian sleeper cells. So calls Greg Abbott. He calls them sleeper cells. Now we know, and you know, that we know that Governor Greg Abbott is he's not a good guy in all of this, but of course, President Trump has put immense pressure. We have put immense pressure. The people of Texas are putting immense pressure on him to drive him to do the right thing. So we'll see what happens. That's why your voice is so important right now, because we have to drive these compromised officials to do the right thing. And so we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we have a voice, and we need to absolutely pay attention to what's going on, because it really is about Texas messing with the elections, messing with Texas to turn it blue or to, and I don't even want to say turn it blue or turn it red. I want to say to turn it to this El Paso Mormon faction cartel belief system. That's what they want to do, because they have a different um, image of what the family should be, what children should be, what the relationships should be with adults and children, adults and spouses and everything. And of course, the exploitation and the money and all of that. They have a different view. And so it's not about red or blue anymore. It's really about what kind of society rules for family law do we want to have. And it is really amazing that I have behind me, and for years I've had behind me, Justinian and Theodora, who were the foundation of family law. Um, it's just incredible, because that's what this is all a fight for. The fight is who is going to define family. And that gets into the whole transhumanism, sacrificial for blood, all of this stuff. It is all involved. And really, who gets inheritance, who is called legitimate, who is called illegitimate. See, they don't want to be called illegitimate. Okay. And so this is the fight that's going on. It's for a belief system. And I really want to make that very, very clear. So let me read all the comments now. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you for putting everything in Spanish. Hallelujah. God bless you. Thank you for your prayers and your love. And I'm sorry for coming on so late. It's like after 1 a.m. again, but there's just no end to all of the information coming in. So thank you so much for putting all this in Spanish. I love it. I love it. And I just want to tell everyone to please share And thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. And we're getting there. Uh, I did put up about Richard uh, today because there was a really good question. And the question was, how did Richard originally get all of this info to be a whistleblower? From the trafficking to the Walmart shooting. And that I thought was a really good question. And we have so much, right? And at the very, very beginning, I played everything that he gave. Okay. I played everything from the videos. I listed everything. You could go back to that time and list all that. And then more and more information and corroborating information and witnesses and everything came into play. And some of that beginning was a war on the narrative. Well, we don't have a war on the narrative anymore. We absolutely know that his life was taken in the line of duty on Fort Bliss, and that the prime suspects are Dallas Hart, Leilani Hart, Tavita News, a CID agent that had his CID badge revoked in 2022. Was it 2022? Maybe it's late. Maybe it was 2021. 2021. Um, and you know, we don't have to fight all the battles that we did at the beginning where we were proving that Richard was a whistleblower. All of that is already up. Unless Facebook took it down or whatever, let me know. But all of that is already up. All of those narratives were well thought, and we posted all of that. And so now we are at the stage of the vicious negotiation for the repatriation of our son's remains. That's where we're at right now. And so I thought that question was really good, and we thought very hard about how to answer that, and we did. And I hope that you go to it and read about. I didn't put in there that he had clipped out of college math and German 12 credit hours when he was 15 years old. I didn't put in there all the wonderful things I know about Richard. We just started with the Distinguished Honor Graduate because they target the stellar soldiers, right? They target because the stellar soldiers are a risk to the cartel pipeline. And that's why they tried to groom him, and he wouldn't have any of it. He wouldn't have any of it. And why do we know? Because we have videos of it. We have reports of it. We have, a mountain of evidence that corroborates everything that we're saying. So, uh, you know, um, and I posted a lot on today's site. But we've been doing this every day for going on 6 years. So there's a lot of material that needs to be reminded to everybody and posted up. So thank you so much for the sharing. That's why the sharing is so important. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.